Hey everybody, this is Brian from Carving is Fun, and today I'm going to share with you my review on the Buck 55 folding knife. Now, as this channel is all about carving, this video will be primarily focused on using this knife for whittling and wood carving. Getting started, this is a great all-around pocket knife, and is awesome for someone who wants to use this knife for whittling or wood carving while camping. It has a really nice steel on it. It's Buck's 420 HC steel, which HC stands for high carbon, and has a Rockwell hardness about 58, which is on the lower edge where you want your whittling knives to be. It comes out of the box with a general purpose cutting edge, but that can easily be honed down with a strop, and if you need to, 1000 grit sandpaper or 1000 grit stone and then a leather strop. Edge retention is pretty decent for what it is. The cutting edge is a little bit steeper for what I'd want for a dedicated whittling knife, but for an all-around knife, pretty good. It has a little bit of higher average price for a decent everyday carry knife. It's about 50 bucks. Still not a bad price for what it is. Now, some of the things I really did like about it was the blade length itself and the curved blade at the end, which makes it pretty decent for all-around whittling and wood carving. The curved edge helps promote slicing, so if instead of you just pushing it in to the wood, you can just rotate the blade and slice off the wood, which makes it easier to remove the wood. And you can get in there pretty quickly and deep with the knife after you get it honed down for cutting wood. One of the things that I really like about Buck knives in general is that there's no blade wobble whatsoever. Since this one's a locking blade, it's in there good. It's not moving around. It's one of the reasons why I picked Buck in general. They make decent blades for a good price. They're not like your super high-end knives or anything like that, but for someone who's looking for a good all-around knife for most any occasion and at a decent price, Buck will usually get you covered. One thing that some people might like is the locking blade. I personally like my locking blades. It's just been one of the things that I've used for over the years that I like. Like I said before, it has the 420 HC high carbon steel. They have better ones available, but for the price range, for the price that you're getting, or you're paying for these, the 420 HC is pretty good. Now the Buck 55 is a great all-around knife for anyone who has a passing interest in whittling. Usually if the person that's going to have this knife is primarily going to be using it for like everyday carry stuff, basically the knife that you have on you for when you're out and about doing your everyday tasks. It could be something like opening up box, open up packaging. You could be fishing and using it to cut fishing line, you know, just like your everyday stuff that you would want to have a knife on you for. The price is not too terribly expensive for what you're getting for the knife. Are there other knives that are out there that are better price if you want to use it for just whittling? Yeah, of course there are. But this knife is kind of like that balance in between a good whittling knife and a good everyday knife. Now before I go over the parts I didn't really like about the knife, just wanted to let you know that I tested and compared a bunch of other knives for how they'd stack up for being used against each other for whittling and wood carving. And I'll have it linked below and at the end of the video as well if you want to check that one out. Now, some of the things I wasn't too terribly fond about, primarily in regards to using this knife for whittling and wood carving, is the thickness of the blade itself. Usually when you're whittling, it's a little bit easier to shave the wood off if you're using a thinner blade. That way it allows you to slice into the wood a bit easier and you don't have to use so much force to do so. Like for example, the flex cut Whittling jack, it's got a little bit of a thinner blade to it, and the cutting angle is more in line for what you'd want for a wood carving knife. which just, it does make it easier just to slice into the wood with ease. But your Buck 55 will also do a pretty good job as well. Just require a little bit more force, or you can just take shallower cuts and take it a little bit slower. Now, another thing I wasn't too terribly fond about for the knife was the cutting edge itself. It didn't come in sharp enough for what I'd say would be make it easy to whittle with, but it came in sharp enough for like your everyday tasks. If you want to do anything like whittling, you're gonna want to hone that edge down just a little bit more. Otherwise, you're just going to be kind of struggling to push the knife through the wood and cut off the wood safely. Plus, the cut angle is not necessarily conducive to be an effective whittling knife, or at least a primary whittling knife. You can use it for whittling all day long, but this is more of a everyday kind of knife. Keep in mind, that's not me saying that this is a bad knife at all. This is an excellent knife. But for whittling, there are some other options out there that make it a little bit better. I'll go over a couple of those at the end of the video here. One other thing I wasn't fond about was the rivets and the way that the handle is shaped. It's a little uncomfortable to hold on to. If you have bigger hands, you might find that the smaller handle is a little bit harder to hold on to. Also, I found you can feel the rivets poking in your hands. It's not uncomfortable, but it's just like, they're there. The thing that I was not very fond about at all is just the edge right here. It's almost a sharp corner turn going right there, so that edge kind of cuts into your fingers a little bit, and over time it wears it out, and it doesn't make for a very enjoyable long-term use kind of knife. So you're probably not going to be using this knife as a dedicated whittling knife, nor are you going to be doing as much whittling as I am doing right now with it. Most of you people who are probably watching this video are going to be getting this knife for general purpose stuff. Now, edge retention on these knives are pretty good. It's got a decent quality steel on it, so it's not going to go dull on you really quickly. It's going to last you a pretty good time, mostly if you're using it for just like regular tasks. If you're whittling, I probably would expect you're going to have to strop it every 20 to 25 minutes if you're doing as much as I'm doing right here. Now, I haven't stropped mine yet, but I can tell it's dulling out a little bit in some spots, like mostly right here, since that's the spot that I'm using the most. But if I'm using it in other spots, it cuts a little bit easier through. And the Buck 55 is a great all-around knife. Would I suggest it just for using it for whittling? Probably not if you're using it specifically for whittling. There are better options, like I was saying. Here, let me bring out a couple of them for you. Like if you're just using this knife just for whittling itself, you might want to look into two other knives. One, because they're a little bit cheaper, and two, they're designed specifically for whittling and wood carving. One being the Master Carver Pocket Whittler 2. A great knife. Very similar in design to the Buck 55. But the primary difference between the two is that the Master Carver knife is a little bit more comfortable to hold on to. I feel like it's more finished, like there's no rivets sticking up or anything like that. The edge is more designed to whittle wood. Like this one, it'll go through wood relatively easy enough, but the Master Carver one is designed to have a shallower cutting angle, so it just cuts wood right off, no problem. It's more designed for whittling. And then another one that you can use is the Flex Cut Whittling Jack. This one comes with two blades in it. Pull out the other one here. So you get a longer blade and a smaller blade. But this one is designed just for whittling and wood carving, and it has a very good blade for taking off wood. But yeah, those are great options. They're actually a little bit cheaper. I think the Master Carver is 40, and then the Flex Cut Whittling Jack is about 45. So it's just a little bit cheaper than this one, which is 50 bucks. But if you're looking for a great all-around knife, the Buck 55 is going to do the job. But if you want more dedicated knife, these two are going to do a little bit better. Just going to be up to you for what you want to do. Get this thing finished up here. Yeah, this channel is all about carving, and it lets me have fun and share some of my wood carvings with you, stone carvings, and all the fun little tools I get to use along the way. So feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It lets me know that you all are enjoying them and keeps me motivated to keep making some more for you. Alright, thanks for watching, folks, and I hope you have yourself a great day. This thing's about done. Look at that. A couple little chunks here and there. Yeah, we'll call that done.